With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Minutes of racing, and all we go is to go 3 wide into the opening corner.
That was a very late dive. He managed to make it work. And he gets the green. We're underway. 3 races left.
Makes it work, and the defending champion wins at Circuit Lebanon.
Good evening and hello to everyone watching on RaceSpotTV. It's the Precision Racing League Season 4 finale for Formula D and Formula C. Dylan Coyle joined alongside Derek Watson in the booth for you tonight. 2 action-packed races are set to come and finish this open wheel season, and really every series season for PRL in 2023. Both championships still to be decided. That's a really positive thing as we head ahead to this final race. You can't have this race drop. So your points right now are going to be your points that you carry in this race no matter what. We're going to so it's going to be a ton of fun. Derek, I think we're going to be in for a treat tonight.
We go for all seasons to schedule. Dylan, schedule. So let's take a look at it. Of course, we just had some great races at Colorado Ring, Sandford, Lime Rock Park, all the way back in week 4. And we're going to finish it up 2 weeks ago at Summit Point. And tonight at Silverstone. Technically an 11-week schedule with that bye week for American Thanksgiving. It's been a really fun night. You talked about the points. The title's still technically up for grabs. That's going to be here in a battle tonight with Andrew Moran holding on to P1 with a few points, a lot of points actually, at 26 over Jake Faulkner. And then Vasconcelos, Tristan Callahan, Michael Diaz, Brett Accord, Michael Dowden, Jason Arnsberg, Dave Peterson, and Brian Hotham make up the top 10 of that, Dylan.
Yeah, truthfully, all Andrew Moran needs to do is score 11 points in this one, and then he'd be champion. He wins the tiebreaker no matter what over Jake Faulkner. He's 26 points ahead. He's got 3 wins compared to Faulkner's 1. The tiebreaker is points, so if he finishes with 11 points, that's if Faulkner gets max bonus points, would be 2 extra after the 35 you get for finishing in first. So all that to say, Moran wins the championship with a 20th place finish, no matter what Faulkner is able to do. Let's take a look at the team standings, and yeah, this one's figured out. 922 the lead over VHR Racing. Derek.
Yeah, it's impressive what Ease Motorsports has done this season over VHR and the rest of the field. But there's still some battles in here. VHR and Precision Racing Esports only 13 points apart. and then divided by 0, blue and yellow, only 3 points apart. And you got the rest of the teams down here: Vulture Motorsports, Yeez But Worse, Driven Performance, Race Indigo, and others. So there's still some battles in here for pride, but you're right, the title itself is all locked up.
Absolutely, it is locked up here. Of course, that 13-point gap, second and third, is interesting. But let's talk about Silverstone. This circuit, of course, leads to some of the best races across all motorsport, and it's an unbelievable one. Let's jump into all of our partners that we have to thank with RaceSpotTV and the Precision Racing League. Advanced Sim Racing is owned and operated by passionate sim racers. It designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. Racebox Sim Racing is next, and they offer mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts. From the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver, competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and get a 5% discount using the Precision 5 coupon code. The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And finally, Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. I certainly have a need to be a better driver and a need to capture my worst moments from sim racing. Hopefully we're seeing a lot of good driving and not a lot of bad moments in the races here tonight, as we have 4 minutes left in qualifying. Michael Diaz, 2/10 over Andrew Moran for the top spot in this open qualifying session, as it usually is with open wheel racing here on iRacing. And this track, it's awesome, right? Silverstone is just a wonderful, wonderful circuit for any form of motorsport, but there's just something beautiful about seeing open wheel cars here.
It really is. It really is. I mean, this track is used for multiple purposes, of course. The British Grand Prix, MotoGP uses this for their version of the British Grand Prix, in their series. So it's a very popular track, right? It's labeled and just mirrored with history all across it. So, really cool to be able to get into a sim rig and race here and, come down some of these corners like Wellington Straight or Hangar Straight and just be able to really feel the history as you go by. It's an awesome experience. But Michael Diaz putting down a great lap here, or at least working on it. Now coming through the last few corners here. And is trying to beat that 2:02.087 that he has set currently, and I don't think he's going to do it. No, it's going to be a little slower that time by. About 2 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, just a little bit off the pace, but, it's okay, right? There's so much that you're going to be able to do once this race gets started. Of course, you want to get that bonus point if you're, Jake Faulkner, who is right now in 7th place. Sean DeHamel running in 9th in that 617 machine. Coming around the end of his lap, that was Stowe. Now the run down into Vale, and this is a very interesting set of corners right here where you kind of have to make that left, then that right, and it always feels uncomfortable getting onto the club straight. You never necessarily feel like you're taking that corner in the best way possible, but somehow, some way, drivers get it done.
Yeah, they definitely do. This is a track with many corners. I'm sure we'll talk about them as the night goes on. This will put Sean Duhamel here through 1 and 2. Now up into 3. This is Village. Now watch this turn right here from Village right into the loop. This big, wide, almost not U-turn right here. And then this will put him down in, that's turns 4 and 5. And now he'll head down the Wellington Straight to try and set a good lap time.
So this is going to be a major drafting portion of the track. Usually when we're going to any track here in the Formula D season, Formula D cars, right? They're not too aero dependent, but you will get some dependency on any long winding fast corner. Silverstone's got a lot of aero dependent corners. How much is dirty air going to play a factor in today's race?
It can. Obviously, on the spot right here, this is between turns 8 and 9. There's straight away here. But then as we come around turn 9 here, you'll get another small through opportunity through 10. But obviously, once you get up here into maggots up here at turn 10, turns 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 happen really quick. And with how much turning there can be in these corners, it's sort of hard to imagine that drafting will play the factor that maybe we saw at a place such as a Watkins Glen a few weeks ago. And that'll be the end of that lap right there, because Duhamel's off the track, and that would invalidate that lap time.
That's unfortunate for him, and pretty sure we're going to quickly see the last lap times come across as Michael Dowden currently in 4th. We're watching his lap. He's not going to get around before the checkered flies here to end this session, but they will be able to finish the flying lap that they are on. Getting the maximum slipstream from his teammate, but look at all that dirty air and his teammate making a mistake, and so did he. So those are 2 invalidated laps at the last moment for those 2 drivers. And hey, dirty air, you asked the question. I think we did see a little bit of it there.
Yeah, dirty air will play a little bit of factor. Just maybe trying to push that car a little too hard right there. Frankie Arvello, currently P5 in the qualifying order on a run here. This, of course, the last laps for everybody because time has expired, but the PRL admins will let the racers finish the lap they're on. So this will not be a lap, or else that timer is way wrong.
Well, it looks like we're going to see them finish their lap. They'll have a lot of time to try and set the laps that they need to get. Usually, it's 3 minutes afterwards that we'll have the admins give them to get across the line. And if you're coming close to that 3-minute limit, then there's no reason to set a lap time, is there?
No, not too much. We're still watching Frankie Arvello come around. So, I mean, this is one of his favorite tracks, so he would love to perform well, maybe win here. Has no expectations tonight, just out here to race and have fun. But I said this is one of his favorite tracks across all of iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Arvello in 5th right now. Makes sense that this is one of his favorite tracks. He's running really well. Last try to do any better than P5 comes around the final corner right now onto the club corner, and we'll see he'll cross the line. No improvement there, and actually he lost a little bit of time. He'll fall back into P6. Sean Duhamel, I believe the last driver to get a chance to set a lap time, and we'll see how this is. Comes around that weirdly curved downwards corner of Stowe into Vale. Again, this little chicane section really tests your technical abilities with the car. Good final corner. We'll see what he gets, and that is not enough at all. It's almost 2 seconds off the pace. We still have one driver. Diaz is there, but it is all good, and we are all ready to go for race number 1 of the night. So Michael Diaz will start on the pole. The New York-based driver is the only one to get into the 2-minute 1-second range. 2:01.974. Jake Vasconcelos. Hey, New York and New England. I haven't heard that rivalry before. They're going to be separated by just over 1/10 of a second and start on the front row. Andrew Moran, the current championship leader, all he needs is 20th place in this race to clinch the Season 4 title in PRL Formula D Season 4. Moran is 3/10 back. Michael Dowden, Kevin McPherson, 4 teammates, 2nd through 5th. That must be scary for Diaz, but he's got a friend in Frankie Arvello, another New England-based driver, starting in 6th. 7th is Jake Faulkner. He needs a really solid result here. Pretty much anything below 4th or 5th is not going to be enough, and he's going to need a miracle here. Tristan Callahan starts alongside him in row 4. Dave Peterson and Sean Duhamel, your top 10, with Corey Precker Justin Delano, your top 6 rows, Derek.
Yep, we'll pick up with Barry Cochran in P13 next to Brett McCord. You got Clay Harris and Brian Hotham, 15th and 16th back there in row 8. Row 9 is David Hebert and Brandon Walter. And then we'll round it out here with Donald Olson in P19. That is the 19 cars who are on the field for tonight's race.
19 drivers, 35 minutes, estimated around 18 or so laps to go here. And it's going to have to be a massive effort for Faulkner, who is one of the last cars to grid up here. He is yet to take the grid. Once he does, he's going to have to start his race on a flyer. You see that row 7 kind of staggered start that they're all putting themselves in. You got 2 minutes from the time that qualifying ends to get into your box before the race goes green and the lights go out. Still Faulkner, I believe, is the last one to get into his box right now. Is there any nerves that he's just going to forget? I'm sure everyone who wants him to win is thinking, hey, let's get in there. That is a gaping hole. There he is. All right. I worried for him for a second, but nonetheless, only one more we're waiting on in the back of the field. It's 18th place starter, 17th David Hebert. We're ready to go here at Silverstone. 35 minutes, the final race of Formula D in 2023. Michael Diaz will lead the field. We're underway, and he covers to his right to try and get the best run. Go Abbey down the Hamilton straight, and he gets first easily there, but all the cars in yellow. I mean, that's a scary pack of bumblebees.
A very familiar sight from Michael Diaz, known to be involved in a few different incidents with Yee's Motorsports cars as they were almost 3 wide out of that corner here, coming up through turns 3 and 4. This is the loop right here. And yeah, very familiar, as I said, for Diaz, but doing a great job leading the field here and staying ahead of all the calamity behind him.
Yeah, staying ahead right now. Look at that pack in the midfield. Everyone's single file for the most part through the top 10, but they're all trying to shuffle for position as we head down this straightaway into Brooklands, Luffield, and Woodcote, excuse me. This is going to be a lot of fun, this race. They're all going to be close for the majority of it. And these longer straights and very fast, long, sweeping corners, it's going to allow for some close racing action throughout the majority of this 35-minute affair. It's all about how you can get the best run here. Usually in a Formula One car, going around, for example, Cope's Corner is, you got to make sure that you're hitting your marks perfectly. Here, you have a little bit of time to correct if you need to correct, but no, not as much aero, so it's still uncomfortable. This is going to be a drafting straightaway, Derek.
Well, these cars are quite uncomfortable at all times, Dylan. You say there's time to correct, but there's not a lot of time to correct here. As we saw that Vasconcelos was going to make the move there to the inside of Diaz here, coming out of Stowe. This is between turns 14, 15, and 16 right here. But no, these cars are very sensitive. You do not get a lot of time to correct one if it gets loose on you. It'll just loop itself around, and you'll be in the back of the field in no time. Now for the first time through 18A, 18B, and there's our first driver off the track right there.
Delano. Oh, he almost jumped.
Delano almost had a bad rejoin.
Yeah, Delano jumped the sausage curb and almost shot completely to the outside. Could have collected a few drivers there side by side. That's a dangerous part of the track to be going side by side in, but they make it work for the time being. Some of the slower corners here, Village, and then the loop before we get an Aintree, and then down the Wellington Straight. This part of the circuit right here is part of the national circuit at Silverstone, which is kind of like a triangle road course oval combination. We usually see MX-5 cars there, but hey, we got some fast lap times, some fast cars, and we got some side-by-side action in the Brooklands.
Yeah, great side-by-side action. Here's what's going on, and look at this. That whole train of cars here on the right side lane. Now they've merged together. who wanted to get around. There's one car on the outside kind of holding up the progress here. They're too wide again coming into the final corner. And what a great job and a great race we're seeing so far here. A couple laps in, and so far very tight, very exciting racing here at Silverstone.
Goodness me. I would not want to be one of these drivers fighting hard for any positions here. I mean, 8th on up are separated by 3 seconds. You have to go another 3 seconds to get back to 9th. Brett Accord and this whole pack of drivers here are all swapping positions, and they're holding strong for now, but as this race goes on and the tires start to become a bit of an issue, I think we're going to start to see some more mistakes, if not just mental, then just, you know, the car's not able to go the extent that it needs to go hard in the corners, as still side-by-side action down into the end of this lap.
Watching a great battle here with Harris and Peterson, 10th and 11th. And the 19-car field, as we said, tonight all showed up to do the finale after having the week off for American Thanksgiving. And they're just all over each other. I thought the field would be broken up a little bit more than this for all the corners, but yeah, they are wide everywhere, but really just over top of each other. There's very little separation in this field, as you said.
Yeah, so little separation, especially between all the drivers in the back. This battle, it's not just for 13th, right? It's for everything. Oh, cars simultaneously spinning. The 151 of Brett Accord, he fell back. Delano involved, and then Hebert involved as well. 3 drivers. It almost looked like it came in different moments. Doesn't look like Hebert has any damage there, but we'll grab a replay in just a few minutes. But a Ferrari having problems in an open wheel car. We've seen this story before. Here's the replay of Justin Delano's incident, and he just loses control. Is there any contact? And oh, he tried to back up while drivers were still coming through, but luckily I think all of them escaped any contact there.
Yeah, it looked like maybe Delano just got on the brakes a little hard because of the slow car in front of him. And that's what happened. Now, that one there is different. That one there might be a chance of, that actually might be an opportunity of getting on the gas a little too soon and just flooring it and looping the car. But I think Delano stabbed the brakes, and that's what looped him around. So we use this term all the time, but really a tale of two cities, you know, back to back there for those 2 different spinning cars.
Well, I'll certainly say this. They're keeping it entertaining as this race hits the 29-minute remaining mark. 6 minutes into this one, just a handful of laps, and we're going to get a replay of David Hebert, what happened to him here. He sees the smoke in front, and I mean, I guess that's a case for don't move under braking, right?
Don't back up.
And don't back up, but he was last.
I get your point about don't move. I understand your point about that, but in a case where a driver's trying to get off the track, out of the racing line, when you're in the car and you have the helmet on and that's what you think is the right thing to do, you're so scared of getting T-boned by someone not paying attention that you want to get off track, right? That's just the natural instinct. So I get it. I understand your point, but I would rather see a driver try to get, you know, pulling in and out of the racing line are 2 different topics.
So I feel like we've had this discussion before. You know, no matter what, the stewards will penalize the driver who moves while cars are still trying to get through, because the worst thing you can be is unpredictable. I understand the want and the need to feel like to get off the racing line, to get off track and out of harm's way, but the worst thing you can be is unpredictable, and that's what the stewards would look at.
Oh, I agree with that completely. I understand the point. Like I said, I do, but I understand that driver mentality. Man, look at these cars here, back and sails all over the back end of Michael Diaz there through the corner, using the curbing the best his ability to keep all these Yeats Motorsports cars behind him as they are coming here up through turns 10, 11, 12, and 13. There's a very quick winding corners here, and a very masterful job so far holding on to it. And now we'll be here through 14, which is Chapel, and down to the Hangar Straight.
Hangar Straight might be the most famous straightaway or section at Silverstone. It's one of them, right? There's so many famous sections here, corners and straightaways. Pulling out just a tad to look for an opening was Dave Peterson, but nothing is there. Everyone else still shuffling in behind, or excuse me, not Peterson. We're looking up front, some of the stronger battles in the field as well. By the way, with Jake Vasconcelos and Michael Diaz being right next to each other in this race, the gap is coming down even more. Look at this big run that he's got on Diaz right now. Has to pull out of it and got a little bit tight in that corner. Everyone's just bouncing around, serpentining back and forth. Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel. Beautiful section.
You know, what I see here in the back of this shot, Dylan, is that Andrew Moran's laying a little bit back. And I was thinking about that. Like, is he doing it? Like, is he having a hard time? No. I think he's doing it on purpose. Listen, Andrew Moran, a third-place finish is as good as a first. It's as good as a 10th. There's no need to push tonight. No need to end up at the back of the field and risk anything. Just have a good night. Go on a Sunday drive here at Silverstone. And that's what I think he's doing. So a great job by Andrew Moran. Let's go back and look at P8 for a second. Tristan Callahan doing a great job here as well. And I want to call it out, Tristan. A lot of times we have a moment to celebrate the great things that happen in life. But unfortunately for Tristan, lost a loved one today. Lost his loved one, Chloe. So he's dedicating the race to her. So hearts go out to Tristan Callahan. I can't express the emotion and the hurt that goes with losing a pet. So best of luck tonight, buddy. And I, it's hard to even find words for a moment like that.
Yes, it is. And I know that
it's a huge bone.
That is that is a massive bone for sure. I will say, as the owner of I hate saying the word owner, but the owner of a dog that I've had for 12 years. He's 13, almost 14. He's been diabetic for 4 or 5 years, and he's been blind for just as long. It's getting scary. It's hard when your pets age, but at the same time, they have known you their whole life, and they've loved you, and you've loved them right back. Beautiful things, the relationship between a pet and a relative, a family member. As there's a pass for the lead, kind of a close battle. I don't think there was any forcing off track there. I think Diaz just had to run wide to keep that momentum up around the first sector of this track. But now you see Faulkner trying to make moves into 5th and breaks up that Ease Motorsports kind of contingent that was running from 2nd to 5th right there. He's moved into 5th now. It's not nearly enough, though. Not only does he need to be in those top 4 spots to give himself a shot here. He also is not leading the most laps. He doesn't actually even have the bonus point for winning the pole because that's gone away. At this point, 21st is all that Andrew Moran needs now to win this title.
Which is done because there's only 19 cars on the field, right? So
it's true.
And that part is done. We're going to assume, giving any weird math, any penalties or whatever, that Andrew Moran is likely your season 4 champion. Weird things have happened, so I try not to speak in absolutes, but that does appear to be the case, right?
Well, Brian Hotham and Barry Cochran, you see them. It says pit. We're going to get a replay here. And that was a horrible-looking corner. 2 teammates collide, and though that is race over for both of them, I'm not sure what they were doing going into that corner with that angle, but it's unfortunate. They lose 2 cars here. Now 17 remaining in the race as this battle just continues to carry on. If Faulkner can't win the title, he sure as heck wants to come out of this one, giving it the best shot he can. Just say, hey, I was still right there at the end of the day. Andrew Moran into P2. Vasconcelos starting to kind of back everybody up into each other.
Yeah, and that's important sometimes, that momentum you have, coming from one season to another. Listen, it's not a long break here between season 4 and then 2024 season 1. The first broadcasted race will be the first Thursday of January. I think it's the 4th of January. And they'll have a preseason race before that, the last week of December. So not a long break, so build some momentum, get that confidence to know you can race with these guys. And all it takes is one race to go different next season, and you could be the champion.
That is certainly all it takes sometimes. It is quite incredible, right? Sometimes it comes down to just one moment here or there, and it can make or break your season, as two drivers getting very close together in Kevin McPherson and Jake Faulkner. I thought they were going to hit wheels there, and maybe one of them would have had a race-ending incident, but we're all good for now as we storm in to Cop's Corner. Maggots, Beckett's, all the likes, and the serpentining. Such a great race so far.
It has been a great race. I mean, overall, you know, yeah, we've had a couple small incidents, but a pretty clean race. And now you're starting to see, as the race is going on, we're about 14, 15 minutes in, you're starting to see the different tire strategies of how they're wearing, who's pushing, who's not. And that's going to cause some of these gaps here. Let's ride on board with Frankie Arvello here. Watch him get down into this next right-hander using that draft. And now there'll be a side-by-side in front of him. Seems on the gas there, just trying to catch up, and we'll make up some time here out of that corner. Nice run here. Brakes right about the 100-meter sign, and has a good run through these back and forth corners. You know, one of the challenges of passing here, Dylan, at a track like Silverstone is when you have these corners that go back and forth, the left-hander, right-hander, left-hander, right-hander, it's hard to get the advantage as the passing car, because even if you get the inside of the first corner, you're likely on the outside of the next one.
Yeah, that's a great point to bring up, which is why, you know, Silverstone, even though you see a lot of side-by-side racing, it can be difficult to complete a move. It's really a racer's track. This is the kind of track that drivers want to come to test all of their abilities. And as we see some blinking going on from Jake Vasconcelos, does that maybe test abilities that Dowd and Faulkner don't want to have tested? Their reaction time to jump scares in a race car?
Well, what it's also testing in a way as well is it's also testing, you know, their ability to hold a draft in that line. Because anytime a car blinks out, you know, it breaks that draft momentarily for you and slows everybody down. So that could explain part of the gap we're now seeing. Look at the differences. Diaz, Moran, and then look at that gap. It's almost now a second back to Vasconcelos. So we're having a little bit of an issue here, but we're going to keep it live and just do it radio style if we have to. But right now, there we go. I think we're back for the moment. But you see this beautiful three-car battle here. That's Faulkner, I believe, right in the middle of that.
19 minutes and change remaining. We're almost at the halfway point of this race, and it has not been decided yet. But this is definitely the biggest advantage that Michael Diaz has had over Andrew Moran or anyone else from first on back to second in this race. And still moving through all of the S's, all of the twisty corners. Moran has gotten to 2/10 quicker in the last few moments, but jumping over those curbs. And again, we appreciate everyone sticking with us as we deal with some of these technical issues. And wow, that's a stable camera at a spin. You can hear the tires squealing. That's Tristan Callahan, unfortunately. He's going to fall down the order. There, not Tristan. It was Justin Delano. We're still trying to figure that all out. We see the numbers and everyone on the leaderboard going up and down, but we're still.
Yeah, I think it was Callahan. I'm trying to find the replay here. Delano is on pit road, though, so we'll get a replay in a moment and figure out who it was, but Delano is on pit road. And yeah, it was Delano. You're right. Callahan is still on track. He's up currently now coming down the Wellington Straight, which brings me to a valid question here, Dylan. And think about this before you answer. If we go down the Wellington Straight and we make contact, or, you know, if we get upset with each other, does that therefore make it the Beef Wellington Straight?
Well, if I want to say anything in in response to that, I'm thinking Gordon Ramsay, and I'm also thinking that's not appropriate to say on a PG-rated broadcast, to be quite honest with you.
Fair enough. Well, we're going to have some technical moments here. We're going to be seeing some sights of the track while we get a technical issue fixed. But I guarantee the race is still going on, and it's still going pretty heavily here, Dylan. Up for P1 through P4, honestly. I mean, we're all still together here by about 2 seconds. I was thinking as we're halfway through the race, this has got to be the closest battle we've had at, you know, for the front with this many cars all season long.
It is pretty solid, right? Seeing all the drivers, all the cars sticking together for as long as they have. And again, you can relate that back to how long these straightaways are and how much of a racer's track this kind of is. It's fast. There's very few truly slow corners other than Village and the Loop. I mean, the hardest you're braking is down Vale, right? Into that final little chicane. That's where it's really becoming more of a question of braking ability and trying to get traction out of the corner. And going into one, Abby, you're racing really hard again. So you're rarely going below a huge speed here.
Yeah, and that's the point that we brought up last night. Arjuna and myself did a F4 Regionals North America's broadcast last night, and we talked about the comparisons some people make to these F4 cars feeling like a go-kart, where you really need to keep the momentum. You're almost scared to touch the brake because it's sort of like being in a go-kart where you don't want to slow it down too much. You need to find just the right amount of speed to lose to feel comfortable, because momentum is what matters. You break momentum here, you'll get past pretty quickly by 2, 3, or 4 cars. As I said, I mean, that's the best way to have, and that's why here. But we're still riding on here. The race is still happening. Their leaders are now down.
Race cars
7 and 8. There we go. Look at that. Race cars are back right on cue. And here's the battle up. This is the top 5 still up here. So now pit stops are about to begin soon. And that'll be, Mike, most weeks still, and that'll be probably the race that decides who finishes where.
And, typically we're not too worried about undercut, overcut when it comes to non-tire based pit stops, right? They're not going to take tires. It'll take too long.
Agreed.
But with a 50% tank and having to go a little bit past that halfway point, I think when you're running this close together, it does matter, right? You want to get out of this dirty air, but you also don't want to lose the advantage of the draft. What's the bigger concern? Is it all that dirty air you're dealing with? Do you feel like you can go faster than the cars in front of you, but not fast enough to pass them now? It's a lot of questions.
Yeah, history so far this season has typically dictated to us that if you can pit, like in this group right here, these 4 cars, this is Dowden, Vasconcelos, Faulkner, and Arvello in the back there. If one of these guys can pit maybe a lap off of the others and find some open air when they pit out, they'll be more successful. But now the challenge is who practiced their pit road entry, who practiced pushing that pit road entry to the last second and not getting a penalty like we saw a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's the big question, right? And pit entry here is coming down Vale. If you're pretty much cutting, not pretty much, you are cutting that final chicane, those final slow corners. So it's not as horrible in terms of time lost heading into the pits as maybe some other tracks would be, because you do cut those corners, and it is a pretty handy thing. As we see, we've got live telemetry now, 13 and a half to go in this race, and that difference between Diaz and Dowden is quite large at this point. Faulkner has made his way into P4, and he's part of the battle that is going to try to catch into P2. We're watching Corey Precker now chase after Sean Duhamel, as well as Brett Accord chase after Precker, who goes quite wide. Precker does, and again, he kind of bounces back because going through Luffield, kind of get back, and look at that. I know what VR headset that is. It's a Quest 2.
Okay, I'll bite what VR headset is that.
It's a Quest 2.
There you go.
With that battery.
The conversation. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say with a battery pack on the back.
Yep. We had the conversation a couple weeks ago. Was it, I think, Callahan's VR headset, I believe it was?
Yes, and it was like an Odyssey. It was
the Odyssey Plus, yeah.
Yes. This must be a really intense battle in VR. So trying to look each way. You can kind of tell, I mean, he's looking the way of each corner like you naturally would, which is such a cool thing with VR, right? He's going to make a right here, so he's going to make a right in his view, but a left in our perspective, looking at him. Kind of lean to the right, and he'll look that way too. It's so cool kind of seeing how you react as the two in front of him, Accord and Duhamel, go into pit lane right now. So they're going to be the first ones to kind of bite here.
Yeah, the first ones to bite indeed is sort of the trendsetters, if you will. as they'll be the first ones down pit road here, pretty close together. They'll pull into their boxes and take that very short stop, just get enough fuel here for the last 12-ish minutes of racing. And they'll be back out here probably in less than 4 seconds on the box total, I would guess. In fact, there it is, already on the move. So I suspect in the next 2 to 3 laps, everybody will come down, and we'll see how it goes.
With 11 and a half to go, we're going to see Tristan Callahan with that Odyssey that he's got going for him right there. And I half expect him to just race one-handed with that Formula-style rim, grab the microphone, and start singing all at once while in VR.
While in VR. You know, it's funny, I talked to Tristan earlier today about, you know, he's currently came in tonight 4th in points, and we sort of joked about it. He wasn't sure how his season was going to go. And he said, you know, the key to success sometimes is showing up. No one's more surprised than him that he's 4th in points, but he says when you show up every week and you race and you finish well, you'll surprise yourself with how well you can do.
Quite true. It is quite amazing. You never know exactly what you're capable of until you're faced with the situations that you may face on any given weekend, any given racetrack. And you see more pit lane action, and some lockups coming towards that line where you got to put the speed limiter on, that pit limiter. Michael Diaz will obtain the lead now. Michael Downing goes in behind him, but Vasconcelos, Faulkner, and Arvello, the first of this main front running group to come into the pits, and I like this call for Jake Faulkner here.
I like the call, except that let's see if he can get out first and get that clean air. It looks like he might. That's the good part of the call right there. And wow, look at this. Vasconcelos, 11 seconds. I'm not sure what happened there to cause an 11-second stop, but that's going to put him well behind the field here. I suspect he forgot to set his pit settings.
That is quite unfortunate, and sometimes when you just forget to do it, it kind of slips your mind, right? Sometimes you take tires. Usually the default is that tires are bound to be taken in a pit stop. Sometimes you forget to take that off, and that can lead to longer periods of time spent where you didn't want to spend. That could be a race ruiner on a road course where there are no cautions, as we're reaching 9 minutes to go. What was once a really close, action-packed affair has turned into a bit of a procedural event right now. Not many close gaps. Frankie Arvello is only 3/10 behind Faulkner of those. Of course, they just came out of pit lane. Brett Accord behind Sean Duhamel by a few tenths, but those are the only gaps within a second, really within 2 seconds of anyone else in this field. 16 runners in this race right now, and race needs to pick up a little bit. How about this battle for 5th? Maybe that will be what picks it up, as the speed is evident as they run through these quick corners. The long straightaway, and that left-hander coming up, or right-hander I should say, of Stowe. Oh, they almost come together, and that was a brash move from Faulkner there.
Very, very brash, right? Yep, you see him still racing together here. This is Arvello right all over all the back of Faulkner, just trying to make something happen and maybe make him nervous, rattle his cage a little bit, but not working so far. They're going to come through the final corners here and come down this straightaway back into turn 1, which is Abbey, and then head up through Farm Curve, Village, the Loop, and others as we begin another lap.
What a good battle between these drivers here. As you hear those tires just squeal a little bit. They've got maybe 4 laps left in them, maybe a 5th, but not many more times are they going to be able to go to corners where they think they can make a move. So the moves are going to have to come now, and they're going to have to come very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly indeed. And look like Ravello thought about digging into that corner there, could not make it stick. So he backed out of it and decided to take another run out here later in this run. Of course, these drivers are still well behind the leader here. Well, I say well behind, maybe 5 or 6 seconds compared to what it was before. Actually, according to timing and scoring, let's see. Arvello was, we'll get a time at the line here. Yeah, they're still racing together here, trying to catch the leader as they're running for 5th and 6th. 22 seconds back here. I would think, by the way, this gap, of course, will increase, or even decrease, that's the wrong way, will decrease, Dylan, because Michael Diaz, unless I missed something, has not pitted yet.
So
Okay.
Diaz and Dowden have come into the pits. The only drivers who currently have not pitted, or pit, I should say, are really, as far as I'm seeing on my timesheet, I don't know why it's saying this, but it's saying Faulkner, Arvello, and Vasconcelos, but that is not correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So I apologize. I did not mark off the pit stop for Diaz then.
Oh, well, you don't have to apologize. I make mistakes all the time, and I don't apologize, at least publicly.
Why one of us is a broadcast journalist and one of us, you know. No, all kidding aside. No, I did miss it, and I want to apologize because I don't want to make that comment on the, and create a story that's not there. But the gap here that's opened up here, and it's really due to that 11-second pit stop that's really created part of that gap. But now it's 3 seconds back to Faulkner. It's 8 seconds back to Vasconcelos, who had it. 11 seconds back to Callahan. You're right. Diaz has done a great job opening us up here. And just, I mean, all likelihood, without that old commentator's jinx that I don't want to put on him, is walking away with this race here and putting a stamp of authority on the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely putting a stamp of authority on this one. Diaz is losing a few tenths, though, within the past few corners to Dowden, so there still might be an attack to come in the final 5 minutes of this race. Last lap time for Diaz once he crosses the line. And remember, they came into the pits the last lap, so this is their first full lap coming out of pit lane. Last laps for Diaz and Dowden were 2:21s, indicating that. As Frankie Arvello goes way off track right now.
Wow.
Well, he won't
not
lose
recommended
anything.
line.
Yeah, that's not your recommended line whatsoever. If you want to go for a safari adventure, then sure, go through the grassy knoll, but nonetheless, it's not the way you kind of want to work it. Here's a replay of what happened going side by side here with Faulkner, and, well, actually, there was no contact. It was just Arvello getting loose, trying to hold it on the outside.
It was Arvello, in my opinion, just trying to make something work and just wanted to be kind of stubborn about it and got it wide. And he said he won't lose anything. He'll keep the same spot, but he will have to slow down there and give up some of that time gained. The race admins will not let him take that advantage. So that's how you see that gap is decreased between him and the car behind him.
We see a new fastest lap being set right there. Are we shocked? Are we shocked? It's Michael Diaz. Unbelievable. He responds quickly to Michael Dowden. Of course, they came into the pits last time, gave the tires a little bit of a momentary rest. But pace for this lap, it's kind of teetering back and forth between both of those drivers. I think at this point, Diaz has got to make a huge mistake for Dowden to not have any attack here, but it's just been a perfect night so far for the driver in the 17 machine.
Yeah, it has been a perfect night. I mean, just got out front, used to clean air, had a great run. There's another penalty. That's a drive-through penalty. That's got to be for incident points. Not one I thought we'd see a story for tonight, but that's what's happened there. So that was Corey Precker serving his drive-through penalty. That beats him only 4 incident points away at most from a DQ. So he'll want to be careful here and not get any more incident points in the last 2.5 minutes of this race.
Gonna have to keep it on track in that case, right? That's gonna be the most important thing to do, as here's a potential move for the 99 of Andrew Moran, who, of course, way back into the field, had some issues in the pits, and he's trying to make up some time here. David Hebert, who has definitely had himself an interesting evening, is just kind of letting go. Moran is not worrying at all, because he's going to be the champion regardless of what Jake Faulkner is able to do. But if there are more drivers in this field, there might be a little bit of a worry across his face underneath the helmet as Diaz sets another fastest lap. That's unbelievable. 202 flat almost, with potentially the last lap of the race we're on.
Yeah, what a great job. You're right. As that, of course, typically in these races, we see as the fuel gets lower and then track is a little rubbered in, these laps will get faster. Look at that Yeez Motorsports car went way outside there, out of that corner exit. That's Vasconcelos all over the back of Frankie Arvello here. Arvello gave up a lot of time, and he had to serve that slowdown penalty after that side-by-side battle. And Vasconcelos would love to get back here in the fourth, and take those extra points at the end of the season. We'll see if he can catch him here.
Well, if Vasconcelos can make up this spot, it would be big for him. He's had a odd day in the top 5, the driver, the number 10, has had, with 50 seconds remaining, running around, heading towards Cop's Corner right now. I don't know if this is the last lap. We're still going to have to see. I think we'll have one more lap after this, but could be a quick white flag, checkered flag situation. These two drivers still fighting close as we head into Maggots and Beckett's and then Chapel into the Hangar Straight, the best section, most historic section of this historic racetrack. Formula D has been great this season, and Andrew Moran is just moments away from becoming champion of the series with 7 seconds to go. Diaz still in the lead as he started his final lap. It is the final lap. It's going to be the checkered as he crosses the line. 1 corner to go. Diaz dominates Silverstone. He wins the Formula D finale in 2023. Michael Dowden will come in second. And now the battle to the line. Jake Faulkner in third, but Frankie Arvello looks to hold off. He does. Jake Vasconcelos, that's your top 5. Everyone else is going to shuffle in behind single file. No battles remaining. Just finish it your way. Diaz, what a race for the man in number 17 in blue. But I think all eyes now are going to be on the driver of the number 99, who is still running his race. Just a couple more quarters to go till we make it official. He's had a great season. Maybe not the best final race. Had a good first half of this race, but he's going to come out of it the champion, Derek.
Yeah, what a great job by Andrew. He's had an incredible season. I mean, as you said in the beginning, Yeez Motorsports has dominated Formula D up and down, so they're going to all celebrate together. Andrew has done a great job here, as you see him coming around here for the final time. We'll keep an eye on it. I've been told my ears that Corey Precker did DQ for incident points, so that's unfortunate to hear. But Moran finishing his last lap and claiming his title in Season 4.
Yep, Andrew Moran claims the Season 4 crown, and I don't think that's come to anyone's surprise coming into this race. Still seeing the last few drivers finish in this one. Moran is going to be another multi-time champion of open wheel competition here in the PRL. He's going to join David Holland, Greg Seitz, Julio Palacio, Kevin Santana, and Owen McLachlan in those numbers, tied for second. Here are the results from Silverstone. Michael Diaz wins the race by 1.3 over Michael Dowden. Jake Faulkner rounds out the podium and finishes second in the championship. Frankie Arvello and Jake Vasconcelos round out the top 5, with Tristan Callahan, Clay Harris, Brett Accord, Sean Duhamel, and Donald Olson your top 10, Derek.
Picking up a P11 is going to be Andrew Moran, all the way back in 11th. David Hebert in 12th. Kevin McPherson in 13th. Dave Peterson 14th. And then Corey Precker, 1 lap down. We'll check on that. Brandon Walter, Justin Delano, Brian Hotham, and Barry Cochran round out your 19-car field as we finish off Season 4 of 2023.
what a race and what a season. And we're going to bring in the champion, first of all. Let's go Andrew Moran real quick before we get to the winner of this race. And Andrew standing alongside Derek.
Andrew, buddy, you did it. Season 4 2023 champion. Good job tonight.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yep. Just happy that I, was able to finish 50% of the race. I mean, you saw that disconnect there. I don't know what. Obviously, a couple of us got disconnected. I think the Diaz tried to hack the Midwest, shut us down, but was able to pull it out.
It's sort of a weird way. The story of the night for me in my head as we were watching along was I felt like this was the first race that Yeez and Diaz didn't really have any kind of on-track incidents.
Well, actually, Jake actually had some damage. I guess they barely touched. He honestly he's not that. He's a clean racer for the most part. Just giving him some crap. So.
Gotcha. Well, listen, great job. Season 4 title, an incredible run all season long. Are you coming back to F4 next season?
No, there's no chance. It's two-time champion. I don't think there's anything left for me here. I'm looking at GTPs. That would probably be the move. I want to get into some endurance racing, so maybe some practice, maybe a season off, and then I'll be back.
All right. Well, listen. Well, it's been amazing watching you all season, you and your Yeez Motorsports teammates. Before I let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, thanks to the teammates, Michael, Kevin, Jake. Almost got P2. I know he got P3, but that's all right. And then Jake Faulkner, congrats to him on the P2. And then, great racing, everybody. So, thanks, guys.
All right. Well, great job, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
All right. Now we got Michael Diaz coming in. Diaz, the winner of this finale here. And that was a perfect race, it seemed like, as we headed into the final stretch. Did you feel any pressure from in behind?
Not really. I didn't have anything to gain today, so I was just having fun. But yeah, it was pretty straightforward.
Well, it felt like there wasn't much to worry you at any point in this race, even with all the drivers kind of within a train for the first half before we got into the pit cycle. Nonetheless, though, a win here, it must feel really, really good to end the season with it. Of course, you're going to end it with the most victories out of anyone. You feel like you maybe had a chance to win the title, but of course, with the did not starts in the last two races.
Maybe, but real life takes its first, so I had to do some things, and fortunately I couldn't do a couple of races, but who knows? I guess maybe. I'm not really sure.
All right, well, Michael, who makes it work for you? Who gets the bills paid for your drive?
Of course, Jerome. And shout out to my teammate Frankie in the series. And I do want to note, I think it was Dustin, I didn't have any incidents in GTP, so figure it out, I guess.
All right. Well, Michael, appreciate it, and you take care. Best of luck in the offseason.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for the broadcast.
Producer Dustin might have just been called out there for something. He has no idea what, but let's pull in second place. How about we go second place in the race first, Derek, with Michael Dowden.
Michael, what a great job tonight at Yeez Motorsports, that number 8 machine. That looked like a very fun race out there.
Yeah, it was a pretty good time. Good battling, and honestly, as a whole, the whole race went pretty well. I mean, season as a whole went really well. We got the teams and the drivers' championship secured. Couldn't ask for really anything more. Just wish I could have raced the full season. See what really would have happened.
Yeah, sometimes that's the story, is maybe getting practice for next year. So I'll just lead with the question. We heard Andrew say no. So are you coming back next season?
I probably won't be coming back next season. I really haven't made my mind up about what car or cars I'm going to be driving next season. It's really up in the air.
All right. Well, tonight, one of the things that surprised me about this race is for the first half, maybe the first 15, 20 minutes, top 5, top 6 all look to be in a very tight pack of drafting. Was that what you expected out of the track when this race began?
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely some of these corners where it's hard to actually follow somebody super close, but with a lot of the straightaways, more than makes up for that. So you can usually stay pretty close to people.
All right, well, listen, great job on the P2 tonight. Anyone you want to give shout-outs to or thank on your way out?
Thank you to PRL for the great league. Thank you to YS Motorsports and my teammates. And it's been awesome. It's been a great couple seasons, and I'm looking forward to the future.
It has been awesome, indeed. Michael, thank you so much, and have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. That's Michael Dowden. Let's go ahead and move right on here to Jake Faulkner. Jake, what a great run tonight. P3 at Silverstone.
Yep, it was fun for sure.
Maybe not the ultimate run you were hoping for. The points title seemed pretty far out of reach when the night began. But P2, both in the points and third in the race, that's a great way to end the season, right?
Yeah, it was fun. I think Andrew had it pretty secure going into it. So I thought maybe when he disconnected, I thought, oh wow, did someone DDoS him? But I was really confused. And then yeah, good job to him though. He was dominant all season.
Well, we've been asking the question all night to drivers. I'm sure it'll be repetitious, but are you coming back to F4 next season?
I'm not sure. I've got a few other leagues going on at the start of next year, so if something clashes, then maybe not, but if not, then I think for sure I'll be back.
All right, well, listen, it's been fun talking to you all season. Had a lot of great time doing that. Great job tonight, and I do hope you come back, or we'll see you something in the future.
Yep. Thanks, guys, for the broadcast and the whole season.
All right, well, that is Jake Faulkner, finished P3. Dylan, there's going to be a big shakeup in the F4 roster next season.
Yeah, it seems so. There's goodness me, there's a lot of drivers unsure or pretty sure that they're not going to be back. So it's all for the taking next year, and it seems like we're only going to have drivers with 2 titles. Maybe not. There's only one driver with more than 2 titles in open wheel action. And that might stay that way next season. Be something interesting to look out for. But if we go to the next race of the evening, we leave this race, we've seen the excitement in the beginning, and then maybe a little bit of a snoozer at the end, as nothing always can be a Game 7 moment, even if you try to make it that. We could see a 6-time open wheel champion once the night ends in Formula C. We've gone Suzuka all the way down from September to the Americas. Watkins Glen, the Boots, the Finger Lakes, and the Seneca Valley. Oh goodness, what a racetrack. What a track for any form of car. I love stock cars at Watkins Glen, but when you put the boot into it and you get an open wheel car going there, it's just ripe for a lot of fun, Derek.
It is. What an iconic racetrack, right? And it is the most used track as far as paid content is concerned across the iRacing service. There's no way any driver here has not turned a lap here, unless you're like day 2 iRacing member. We've all turned numerous laps here. We all know what we're doing. Of course, 2 weeks ago at Belle Isle was it. But let's go ahead in a moment. We'll head onto on-track action and look at the qualifying as that is underway. And we'll see. There's also some points here to look at as well. I forgot about. Sorry. That's David Holland.
I'm gonna make sure you remember that. I'm gonna make sure you remembered to.
Fine.
Yeah, there we go.
21 points is the difference here. So once again, unless we have a full field tonight, more than likely David Holland has this wrapped up. But below that, Kevin San Diego, Mackenzie Roon, J.R. Williams, Robert Ridgway, Connor Wagner all the way back there in 7th. Scott Barton, Tommy Brisson, and Jeff Groff are your top 10 in your driver standings.
So the only way, if we look at that gap, no matter what happens, if Greg Seitz is able to get, bonus points at all, if he gets both bonus points and wins the race, it won't matter if it's a 15th or better finish for David Holland. He just needs 16 points from this one, so obviously that can be a combo of bonus points and race finishing points. The only bonus points you get here is one for pole position and one for fastest lap, which obviously can make it a little bit difficult. Not for us. It makes the math a lot easier for us, especially when we go into the race and it's only one more bonus point up for the offering. But it's going to be tough, right, for sites to do anything about David Holland. It does look, though, that we're going to have a fairly full field, so it's not completely over yet for sites, who has to overcome. He's got to get 22 points at least in this race. There's no question, just to have a shot. Because he does not have the tiebreaker. Here's a look at the team standings as well, Derek.
Yep, so we have Delta Sport up in the lead, 926 points. They have walked away with this, almost 300 points, 280 to be exact, over Atomic Racing. SRTE Blue is back there, a few points back with Rust Racing Iron, Atomic Geezers, Yellow Stripe, Rust Racing Oxide. And then I've been given permission, by the way, Dylan, to call this VMME, Virtual Motorsport Mentor Esports, Destino Motorsports, and Evolve Sim Sports. That's your top 10 there. But that Delta lead is probably bigger. I think it is bigger than one we saw in the last race. That is a massive lead for Delta.
Did my math.
All right.
There we go, 280. I did my math there. Watkins Glen! Oh, goodness me. I love this racetrack. Going up the S's here. I took a track walk. So, hang on, watching. I work in PR, public relations for Colleague Racing, and that is a cool thing when you work for a team, as that's not how you take the boot, or excuse me, the bus stop. A cool thing. Oh, goodness! In qualifying. Okay.
A Palacio right there on the back of that, that car. Wow.
I was going to say, I was able to do the track walk. So I walked the entirety of the NASCAR circuit here, and it is so steep, a lot steeper than it even looks from this angle.
Oh yeah, this ride up the S is massively steep. Moving up the hill there. Of course, it'll kind of level off here for Tommy Brisson. It's going to come down here into the straight, into the inner loop or the bus stop, whatever you want to call it. He'll stop here right about the 100 board, and he'll run right up against that wall as close as possible. Now down to the carousel or the outer loop, depending upon your preference once again. He'll get wide here and take it down in the boot to be on that part of the track.
So if we have 21 drivers in this field, which is the number of drivers currently registered for this race, then, I mean, you're going to have Holland getting 10 points no matter what. If he wrecks out at the beginning, he'll get 10 points.
No, I'm pretty sure you have to. I could be wrong about this, and I wish I had someone here to tell me otherwise. There's a certain amount of race you have to finish to score points, I thought. Am I? I'll look into this.
So what I'm seeing right now, and I'm looking at the point system in front of us. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So that's completely correct. Drivers must start the race and finish 50% of the race distance completed by the winner to score points at all. Drivers that do not satisfy this requirement will be issued a DNF. So that is a very substantial note, and I appreciate you catching that, Derek. That is huge, and this is going to not be a timed race. It is a 27-lap affair here at Watkins Glen International. It's not timed.
The other way to not score points as well is if you get disqualified, which sounds, simple, but you do that mostly on incident points here in PRL, and there's plenty of ways to get 1x incident points at this track, and it'll take 17 of them to get yourself disqualified. We saw it towards the end of the last race, a couple drivers in danger. But even just turn 1 into 90, you get up across that banking, which is a normal, whoa, there's a car spinning in the background. You get up across that banking, that's 1x every time. Who is that? That is Stephen Harity, I think, I saw back there. Lots of calamity here in qualifying, though.
Maybe that's an indicator of what we're going to see in the race. Goodness me. Could you imagine if that actually plays a role in the race? Wrecks going everywhere. I mean, absolutely wild, but just 2 minutes and some change left in this one in the qualifying session. It's actually the last qualifying session of the Season 4 2023 endeavor that we're seeing from any of these races here. Of course, Formula D just happened. We crowned a champion there in Andrew Moran. It's looking like David Holland will be the provisional champion here, depending on, what happens in the race. It's not completely over, so Holland still needs to make sure he finishes this race and does not completely fall to the back, which, as long as he finishes, I feel like he'll be okay. As we see Julio Palacio with a bunch of drivers and cars trying to make this work, as they'll get one more lap here to set a fast flyer, and then it'll be over, and then there's not much that they can do to get that one bonus point for sure. But and David Holland, of course, not qualifying yet. I wonder if there's an issue of sorts. Mackenzie Roon currently running around the outer loop there. Banked corner before you head into the boot. With 30 seconds and change remaining, I don't think Mackenzie's going to be able to finish another lap after this, but Roon's already got speed and got the provisional pole. Liu Ho Yin Yang is 10th and a half back for second. And Derek, this has been a good qualifying session. There's been some excitement all around. Are we going to see any changes out the top spot?
History indicates sometimes in the last lap in Formula C, we do see some changes. We have some newer names at the very top. Mackenzie Roon, Leung up there. Julio Palacio back up to P4. There's a story with J.R. Williams behind him. So we'll see as these lap times come around. Mackenzie Roon chasing that lap here. Could be a faster run. Let's take a look down the line here. 36, 37, 38. No, about half a second slower.
Half a second slower. And checkered flag is out. Trying to understand the potential penalty that some drivers might have faced, because if you notice, there's one driver that is a glaring omission to this current qualifying order. His name is David Holland.
Yeah, right. Don't remember when we talked to David. I don't remember him saying he was going to miss the race that I recall. So, I was into practice earlier, so.
If David Holland misses the race, then the championship battle is on. For sure. I mean, he hasn't qualified yet, and I was trying to look to see if there was any unknown penalties, as the penalty reporting system, or at least where it's being reported, has changed just a bit. This could be a major concern for what we're going to see in this race, and obviously it would change Greg Seitz's kind of approach here, right? If all he needs is, 22 points
to finish, basically, right?
I mean, even if you're just trying to finish, that's 21 points still, or 22 points is still a high position. Let's go through the grid right now, as this situation becomes to question a little bit more. As Mackenzie Roon with a 1:38.012 to get the pole time. Liu Ho Yin Yilong will finish 10th and a half off in P2. Kevin San Diego and Julio Palacio will be in row 2. J.R. Williams and Robert Ridgway in the top 6. And Tommy Brisson, Manuel Vargas, Steven Verratti, and Brett Thurman, your top 10. Blake Ziti, Scott Parchin are your top 6 rows, and we continue moving back along the field. In 13th is Adam Kolsar, Takeshi Kita, and Brian Lowe, your top 15. Eric Dubé and Richard Swindells in top 17, with Nicholas Collender in 18th. The last couple drivers, James Carter, Hunter Wagner, and 21st. It says David Holland. Is he missing the race? This could be huge.
Yeah, it could be. You're right. That I'm trying to get see what's going on there, but as cars are starting to grid, I tried to merge some words together there. We're starting to see what's happening here, but right now, no David Holland means right now, per my math, Kevin San Diego would have to have an amazing night. He's 39 points back. He's in third place currently off of David Holland. He would have to have an amazing night that Greg Seitz would not in order to win the titles. This is probably Greg Seitz's race and championship, I should say.
Yeah, there's no way.
I'm gonna follow up on this.
Yeah, there's no way. The max you can get in a race is 37 points. So what I'm trying to think, like, I think this is a situation where Greg Seitz isn't even in this race. And we're about ready to go here. We'll talk about it in a moment, but the 91 of Rune is going to lead us. Green flag is out. No lights at Watkins Glen. It's all from Barney the Flagman into turn one. This is a steep drop down and a very slow corner, and we've got a spin. Was there no contact after the fact? That was Kolsar. Great running there from everyone involved. A pass up the S's side by side. Oh, some net code. A big collision between second and third, and there's going to be some more contact potentially. No, everyone avoids that except for those two in second and third. Oh no. Oh, bigger wrecks. Unbelievable. Still down this back straightaway. They're all wrecking. An unbelievable showing of calamity.
Dylan, the car in the back that is wrecked, that is David Holland. He did start the race from the back of the field and got caught up on the back straight. Eventually, I'm sure we'll get a replay of it. He has just retired that, well, taking it back to pit road for a lot of damage. That must open this race here. But you're right. I don't see Greg Seitz on the grid, so Kevin San Diego, question mark?
Well, San Diego's 39 points back. He's done. This is...
You can make up 39 here because right now Holland's going to score a 0 if he doesn't finish this race.
You can only make up 37 points in any one race. 35.
You're right.
35? No, it's okay. 35 is, with all the different point systems across oval and road, sometimes it can get a little bit confusing, but 35 is a win, and then a bonus point for pole and a bonus point for fastest lap, and, well, Greg Seitz has got to be upset with himself because he could have potentially won this championship. Let's get into a bunch of replays right here. So this is a replay of Kolsar in the first corner. Adam Kolsar just kind of looped it himself through one, went all the way into the back of the pack. If you look at your timing and leaderboard right now, he's sitting in P12. So he made up all positions back after that big wreck. As we're still going side by side through the S's, gotta be careful here. Oh, that's way wide through the S's there. That is not the ideal place you want to be taking that corner, and some blocking down to the inside. We're heading into the bus stop, shaking, shimmying. Oh, there's going to be jumping over the bus stop. They all managed to keep it clean for now, and that's a relief because only, oh no, Tommy Brisson, big impact, went over the bus stop, curbing, and that is a destroyed race car. Attrition rate is horrible a lap and a half into this one.
Well, I'll tell you what, shout out to you, Dylan, because I said we were seeing calamity in qualifying. You said, you know what? Maybe that's how the race is going to go. And so far, it has. Not a dull moment here in the first 3 minutes.
Goodness.
Believe it or not, despite everything that's happened, it's only been 3 minutes.
It's very unfortunate, though. I mean, Watkins Glen is a track that gives us a lot of excitement, but you want to see a lot of cars in the race. All of those cars in the pits and out. That's almost half the field in the first lap and a half of this race. So, Liho, we're going to see a little bit of net code, but I think there was going to be a collision anyway. I think they were just too close, and a little bit of a drift up the inside there led to the potential for the internet to make a decision, and a contact was made, and unfortunately took out second and third from this race. There was no further contact between any two cars there. So that incident, Derek, was the only incident at the beginning. until we reached kind of towards the bus stop where there was contact between cars. Now, oh, that's horrible. You cannot move in the braking zone.
Now watch, David Holland's going to come into your frame right there, this car right here.
Yeah.
That red car that just slammed into the outside wall, that's David Holland. He started in the back, tried to race it slow, let things happen, and got caught up in it.
Just horrible. That's I still can't believe that moving over in the brake zone. So we're going to see the view from Holiday's perspective. Boom. Can't even move.
Now that car is done. D-U-N, done. He will not get it back on a track. That will be... This is a crazy night. Like, Holiday's going to score, or excuse me, Holland's going to score a 0. Greg Seitz isn't here. Kevin San Diego... man, this is crazy. He's also on pit road. He's going to score a 0. I mean, unless he gets back out there. Like, this is... this is a nightmare scenario for these drivers. I mean, this pretty much guarantees that Holland wins the title, but not obviously in the way he wants to win the title. So we'll come back on track here up through the S's. This is Mackenzie Roon or the Optic DS, and up in first place. And I think, except for maybe a pit cycle, swapping around, the first time this season I can remember Mackenzie Roon being up front. J.R. Williams behind him in second, Ridgway in third, Manuel Vargas and Blake Ziti, your top 5. A much different top 5, Dylan, and that's going to be because of all the calamity that happened in the first couple laps.
Yeah, that calamity for sure has led to quite a boring affair. Wow. The driving standards, I feel like, are going to be scrutinized for sure. I mean, there were 3 separate incidents there. The first one, all right, you looped it on your own. You didn't hit anybody. You got back going without contact. The second one, yeah, a little bit of net code. Only took 2 out, but that third, and then everything else that followed on the next lap or so was just kind of brutal to watch, to be quite honest with you. Nonetheless, we still have a substantial amount of time left in this one.
So the story I want to kind of follow here, and I'm not sure, well, we'll follow the on-track as well. A lot of great racing happened. I want to get there. But Kevin San Diego is still in the server. He's still sitting on pit road. He's still trying to fix that car. Now, we went back, you and I have privately looked at the point standings, and we think there's a way, or I think there's a way, I'm not going to talk for you, that if San Diego gets back on track, maybe, like, you might as well try and see what happens. So we'll follow that as the night goes on. But now here we come back into the 90, back into turn 1, up there on that off track I talked about earlier. That is a 1X. That's 1/17th of your way to a disqualification tonight, which would be wild just with everything else that's already happened. Up through the S's here. And Dylan, we are 5 laps in, and watch this draft here up into the bus stop.
Wagner is going to get a run down the inside, and he's just given the spot. Oh no, Wagner has lost the plot, or Dubé, excuse me, and he gets back onto the track. All good. We're safe. All good, you just lost a few spots. So, kind of answer your point, Derek, I don't understand what... The rule book says the maximum you can get is 35 points. Then you do look at the point standings, and it's not that case. So, I don't know if there's a disconnect there, but you're right as well.
I'll take that. That's a victory, right? Here we come down here through this portion of the boot into what I think is the hardest corner right here of the whole track, Dylan. This off-camber left-handed corner that gets you back onto the NASCAR Cup track, if you will. That, to me, is the hardest corner here. You got to be slow about it. It's off-camber. The car always wants to come around. And if you step on the gas even a hair too soon out of that corner, you will loop that car around.
Yeah, it's very easy to get onto the throttle quickly here, but because of all the banked corners, right, and the steep declines and uphill climbs, even mid-corners, Wagner sets the fastest lap, you're going to see a lot of variation in throttle application, but it's so easy with these cars having a lot more power than the Formula D cars. A little bit more throttle application it can be a big detriment. And if you take too much curb through the bus stop, you better be careful. Your car is going to jump for sure. But that is the fastest way as well through the bus stop, to kind of jump over that orange and yellow, or orange and red, whatever you want to call it, curbing there. Looks like yellow and red, yellow and orange, burnt orange, red orange. I know my Crayola crowns, and I did say crowns because I'm from Philadelphia and we don't get it right.
Yeah, I think it's red and orange. I don't know what you just went on about, but it's red and orange. Like, all right, sure. I mean, look at them right there on your screen. It's red and orange. I don't understand. Look at this battle here from third back through seventh. Robert Ridgway, Manuel Vargas, Blake Ziti, Brett Thurman, and Connor Wagner. Connor Wagner at one point will look to be a very solid contender for the points titles. Missed a couple races this season while representing Delta Sport, so that's what's put him out of contention for the title. But Connor had a strong start to the season in his own right. But man, Robert Ridgway all the way up to third. A lot of these guys are having, season best performances so far. We're lap 7 of 27. Technically, it is a timed race. We hardly ever hit the timer in the Formula C series. But it is a 45. We do not need, there's the timer if you want to see it. 34.5 minutes left to go to watch this battle here. Well, I want to take a moment and have a bit of a somber moment here for Ken. Dylan, this season, or this month, we found out, unfortunately, PRL lost one of its longtime members in CM Pennington. I know there's been the logos across the different PRL discords and races. CM Pennington, 44 ever. He received a letter from his relatives informing us, unfortunately, he has passed away and lost that battle to cancer, but he'll always be in our thoughts as we race PRL. So just want to take a moment and recognize CM Pennington for all the years of service and all the years of racing he put into PRL.
It's kind of hard to put into words what it means when you lose somebody who is as meaningful to the community as CM Pennington was, and honestly still is. It's going to have ripple effects years down the line. And, one thing I will say is that it's so good that in a way it hurts so much because you know how much it meant, how much they meant to you. If there's any silver lining here, he did a lot of stuff to encourage donations to, for example, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which was pretty awesome. I believe the final number was over $1,000 in his name. And I'd say that's a pretty amazing legacy to have.
Yep, I would agree with that. And I think it was his brother who sent the letter, said that even at nights, CM Pennington would sit down with his brother and make him watch the broadcast and explain to him how the races worked and talk about the different broadcasters, the different race cars. So, always thank you to that, and we'll miss you, CM Pennington. Back here up through the boot at Watkins Glen, watching Robert Ridgway leading Manuel Vargas here. This is the battle for third and fourth. You see them all back there together. That's fifth, sixth, and seventh. The same order we left them. Blake Ziti, Connor Wagner's up into sixth, by the way. Got around Brett Thurman. So coming here through, this is going to be up to the heel in turn 8.
At least they're getting much closer together, right? That is a exciting thing. It's a nice thing to watch as this race continues to carry on with minimal drivers. Only 11 on the lead lap, 12 in the race altogether. I mean, that's a scary sight to see. Out, 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 out. Kevin Sandiego is not out. And we still don't understand this point system.
Derek, I'm telling you right now, per the points that have been handed out in other races, this is a question mark. We're going to have to follow up on it as the night ends. But if he completes more than half the race, he will score some amount of points. And as I take a look, or we take a look on the scoring pylon, David Holland is not on track. And that halfway point is only a few laps away here. So I'm telling you right now, there's a chance, there's a possibility that we're going to locate the title.
Yikes!
Never mind, hold on.
That was a bounce over the curbs there through the bus stop.
You know what? And let me come back to what you said. We'll come back to the San Diego story later. You're correct. The fastest way to the bus stop in almost any car here at the track is to get up on those curbs. And you want to almost dig up against that wall on the inside when you're turning in as close as possible. It is scary. It is scary. It's dangerous. It's petrifying to watch if you're a spotter or a crew chief. But they're making it work here. I come up this hill again. Watch this replay here, Dylan. He's going to come down here. Think about making the pass. This is not where I'd recommend it. Now he's going to get all the way to the inside here.
Yikes. Oh, that was a horrible way to take the bus stop, but you can make it work if you just have quick reaction time to deal with the bounciness and the bumpiness. And how about this?
Bus I want to be on.
Yeah. Well, if you want to see the right kind of bus you want to get on, how about one that's like a hover car? Let's go Back to the Future Part 2, which, by the way, is the superior Back to the Future. I will not digress from that. But you know what they had in Back to the Future Part 2? They had flying DeLoreans and flying cars. And what we saw right there from Manuel Vargas was a flying Formula C car. Slow motion. Oh, wow. That suspension is screaming for mercy. It's saying hallelujah as it comes. Oh, no, it's doing it again. He's coming back through.
And honestly, the real surprise to me in that shot, Dylan, is that with that car getting up in the air and sort of slamming nose first, very likely he could have lost that car. That car could have got spun around or just loose or, you know, sort of had a mind of his own of where it wanted to go. He's very lucky that he gathered that car after it got airborne and landed in that manner. I mean, we saw multiple drivers already lose that corner and hit a wall or come close to hitting the wall. He got very lucky in how that car landed.
Yeah, he got so lucky there. Look at that. There's another view, another angle from Ridgeway, who he just got by in that run down to the bus stop. Still 17 laps and some change left, and uh-oh. Having a little bit of technical problems at the moment. It's been that kind of night. All the drivers having technical problems. Why not us join the party? It seems like the fun way to go about it. But we'll still try and bring you all the action as much as we can on RaceSpotTV. Derek, you know, let's go back to what you were talking about with that point system. And I hope you're saying that we do have a battle going on, and I have seen the previous points. I just need you to recognize where the rule book says.
Oh, I agree. I understand what you looked at. I'm just saying, based upon the live spreadsheet, that could, you know, it could be different. We'll have to figure it out and wait until the race is over to see how it all pans out here. By the way, if you want to race in Formula D, Formula C, NASCAR Cup, Grand Nationals, trucks, prototypes, GT3s, PRL is still open registration for season 1, Dylan. You can head over to the website and sign up today and find out what series are open, what the rules are, requirements, and other factors. So signups are still open, so anyone can still join, Dylan.
Yeah, anyone can. And hey, if you can get yourself into a broadcast that's featured on RaceSpotTV in any series, any league, I think that's a pretty awesome thing. You get to see your moves, your driving kind of reflected back. You can tell your friends, your family about it, and it's a lot of fun to show what you got.
What we're seeing, sorry to cut you off, what we're seeing in the race here and what's happened to our broadcast is that both race servers tonight have had a little bit of internet problems. It's not something I like to talk about in broadcast, but it's happening. But we have a developing story because our leader, Mackenzie Roon, also had a connection problem and has dropped out of this race. That means J.R. Williams is going to assume the lead here in just a moment. And Mackenzie Roon will no longer be your race leader as we come around here. So new leader changes up things once again here at this race at Watkins Glen.
Goodness me, we have so much chaos going on.
We talked about, we heard the Wise Motorsports guys talk about it in the last race, how they had some connection problems, and now we're seeing it again in this race. So I'm unsure what's going on, but yeah, Mackenzie Rune no longer your race leader. So let's go through it. It's J.R. Williams, Manuel Vargas, Robert Ridgway, Blake Ziti, and Scott Barton are your top 5, Dylan.
Well, we got back to live pictures right here, and we do have a battle for P2 ongoing. So there is some excitement between Manuel Vargas and Robert Ridgway. Remember, this was the battle for 3rd, and now it's turned into 2nd, courtesy of the issue for Mackenzie Rune. As they move through the toe in the boot, it's shaped like a boot, so that portion is called the toe, and guess what this portion's called? The heel! That was pretty synchronized, as almost synchronized swimming out into the apron, or the runoff area, the asphalt runoff area here around turn 8, the heel, before we get back onto the normal circuit, turn 10 in this configuration. And then the final corner is turn 11. It is caved in, so there is banking in this corner. Goodness, this is... I was talking with Josh Williams, our recently announced driver for the number 11 in College Racing, and we were talking about Watkins Glen specifically. And he said, you know what? Watkins Glen, and anyone can back this up, is just a oval with a couple more corners. Pretty much what it is. Yeah, the boot, and it changes it a little bit, but at the end of the day, it still races as fast as a road course could ever race.
Oh, yeah, it's a very fast road course. I'll agree with that analogy completely. Look at Ridgway here. Going to try the outside coming into the bus stop here. Going to be almost side by side, but not going to make the pass happen there. The one thing that I think has changed since we had our broadcast blip there, I believe that Ridgway went back to 3rd in this battle.
Well,
but, you know, this boot you talked about, Dylan, this boot was created for F1. I think a lot of people don't realize that. This boot was first raced for the first F1 race at Watkins Glen, back when Watkins Glen had a Tier 1 or an FIA Grade 1 license. So the boot has only been in existence since 1971.
Yeah, it's only been in existence for that set amount of time, which is kind of wild to think about. But I mean, hey, we recognize that you are no spring chicken yourself, Derek. So
hey, I'm the old man of RaceSpotTV. I'll say this: the boot existed before I did. I'll say that. So, you know, but this track has been around for a long time. We've shown it in many broadcasts now. You know, Watkins Glen for its first 4 or 5 years, Dylan, was a street course. It was not the course you know it as today. You should look it up on Wikipedia or another source. The original image of this track is petrifying.
Less of like a track, more a Grand Prix through the streets of Watkins Glen.
Yes,
which is pretty cool. Really, really awesome. And I'll tell you what, this region, it's a beautiful part of the country to go to. You know how Napa Valley and Sonoma is known for its wine tasting. Well, so is the Seneca Valley. So for the Finger Lakes region, it's got some nice wine tasting options if you are into that, if that is more your speed. I'll tell you what, James Carter's hoping he keeps up his speed because he's about to lose a position to teammate Richard Swindells right here. Swindells has the momentum and the speed. Will he be able to get the move done going into part 1 of the bus stop? No, he pulls back. He doesn't want to take too rash of a move, but he lost so much time in doing so.
Well, we are about to approach that magical time we always talk about. We're halfway through the race. It means pit stops are a-coming. So we'll see how those change things here in a moment. But right now it's a 5-second lead. J.R. Williams, in what is possibly his best run of the season on finale night here, is going to be P1 as we start pit stops.
The pit stops are starting as we've reached that halfway point. The middle part of this lap was officially halfway, but J.R. Williams has gone into lap number 15, so we've got 13 more to go in this one, give or take 20-ish minutes left. Nonetheless, though, kind of wild. Mackenzie Rune, by the way, got back on track, but practically a lap down.
What a great run we're seeing here. I'm going to go back into the bus stop again. Look at him. He's going to hop those curbs and make a great run here. Now, we talked about this track in the beginning, how well used this track is across iRacing. It feels like it's hard to find a single week here, Dylan, that this track isn't used. We'll come back to that, though. This is going to be James Carter and others coming down pit road. That's James Carter right there. And there is Richard Swindells. They'll come down for the short pit stop. About 4 to 5 seconds total in box. And away they are.
Well, that was quick, and hey, teammates, we still want to have fun as this race goes on, right? So, might as well come in together. Nonetheless, you see those drivers with internet issues on lap 11. Well, I don't know if you can say drivers when the majority are not drivers. They're just producers by the name of Dustin Allis with internet issues, hiding behind the RaceSpotTV 1 and RaceSpotTV 2 names.
Yeah, unfortunately, we saw these kind of issues during the Formula D race as well. We heard in the interviews about. So maybe a rough night for that. But here comes more pit stops here. This is going to be Manuel Vargas.
Everyone.
And others. We'll come off that camera here and see what's going on.
Oh. We're going in and out again. But again, thank you for staying with us through these technical difficulties. Trying to give the best production we can, but sometimes servers just say, hey, you're doing a little bit too much of the good stuff, and we're doing a lot of that, we hope. J.R. Williams comes out, back onto the track, about to blend back in. Robert Ridgway, Blake Azidi, they both come out pretty close by each other. They're going to be far back. Manuel Vargas must have had a penalty of some sort. Was it speeding?
Yeah, he has a black flag right now, so I'm going to guess it's going to be for speeding on pit road. He is still there, so that'll end his bid for second place. That puts Ridgway up into second place, Blake Ziti up in the third, and then Eric Dubé now in P4 with Scott Barton potentially up in P5. That is a long stop for Vargas. Look at that, over 40 seconds. That is definitely a speeding on pit road.
That's why it's just race over once you speed, right? There's no question there. On a road course, when you're competing for the win, you're not going to be competing for the win anymore if you were not even far ahead in the lead in first place, and we're in second. So J.R. Williams fairly uncontested with 12 laps remaining in this one, but second place, it's all for the taking between Ridgway and Ziti. The only other battle in this race right now that is within, honestly, within 7 seconds is the battle for 6 between Carter and Swindells, but this is the closest of them all, second and third place drivers here.
So just for those who are wondering, I got a chance to get a report on it. So Manuel Vargas speeding on pit road. Pit road speed limit is 40 miles an hour. He crossed the commitment line at 54. Slightly over.
Indeed. Indeed. Slightly over. Go Bowling at the Glen is the name of many of the NASCAR Cup Series races here. And I always wonder if you're a good bowler, Derek.
No, not even with the bumpers. I'm still a bad bowler with the bumpers, believe it or not. That's how bad it is right there, right? But, talking about NASCAR, talking about the boot as we're getting some racing back. Hold on. Oh, man, that was J.R. Williams, I believe, right there. Side by side with somebody. I'm going to see if we can get a name conference. Is that Ridgway?
Yeah, that's Robert Ridgway, who's just made the move, or just stayed in front
of Blake Ziti. That's not J.R. Williams. I apologize.
Oh, good there, Derek. It's right now Blake Ziti, who is currently shown as P3 with Ridgway in P2. Ridgway in the 17 machine, the 50, the yellow, and I'd say that's dark gray. I can't quite tell. It looks like a black gray carbon fiber looking. Oh, it's blue. All right. I can't see at all. Let's have a producer zoom in as far as he can go, but then the cars disappear.
It's basically University of Michigan colors is what it is. Think of that,
Ah,
like,
there we
maize
go.
and-
That makes sense.
Maize and blue. Yeah, it's maybe it's more highlighter yellow, but there you go. But, come back to this track and talking about it. Many years now we've discussed the idea of NASCAR running the boot instead of the classic cup layout where you just come out of the carousel down the long straight. What is your opinion of NASCAR running the boot?
Hate it. Don't want it. It's perfect.
Tell me exactly how you feel.
I told you. I don't want that. I love the boot, don't get me wrong, as there's a big run for ZD coming to the bus stop. A little bit of a block, but has the momentum, has the run, has the inside line. That's as easy as a move can be made through that bus stop. Good on him. As from the inner loop, they go to the outer loop. But hey, I like the boot configuration. It's not, to me, for stock cars though. You slow down just a little bit too much to keep that momentum, and what makes Watkins Glen so great for stock cars is it does feel like just an oval with a few right-hand turns, if that makes any sense.
It does indeed. It definitely does. Well, let's get some updates here as we're watching this battle between Ridgeway and ZD. Mackenzie Rune is back on track after getting reconnected to the server. So they are towards the tail end of the lap, back in P9, almost a minute back from our leader, J.R. Williams. Brett Thurman became the newest victim of the disconnects tonight and is now being scored a lap down. So he's back in P10. So we have 9 survivors right now on this wild, wild night that I'm sorry to see happen. But right now, the story still, Kevin San Diego is running on track somewhere. I'm trying to find out where. Back in P11 and is not on track. So maybe not. This is going to be a wild, crazy night. Let's just follow the racing action and the points will settle themselves out. But right now, J.R. Williams is walking away with this race, Dylan.
Yeah, he is just, it's not just walking, he's curb stomping the field right now and taking them all for a walk as Carter and Swindell's, I don't know if he just lost control of his wheel, but James Carter or something, but he went to the inside. He lost everything on the traction coming out of that final corner, turn 11, before we get into that 90-degree right angle turn into 1 and then the climb up the S's. That was a very strange looking move in a strange race. San Diego is out.
Yeah, San Diego is out. I'm hoping we can get a video of that in a moment and see why. But he wrecked it in the bus stop. So we'll wait and see here. James Carter and Richard Swindell is back here in P6, P7. Right here on lap 19 of 27. They're still going for it. So that whole talk about points and Kevin San Diego, that's all in question. I don't know if he turned enough laps to count. I'll count them up by hand if I have to figure it out. But we got a great battle going on right now between teammates here. And they are doing well. There's another shot of the elevation you talked about. Now, you did not walk this part of the track. This is not part of the NASCAR config. But that camera shot's another great example of just how much elevation is in this track.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. It's just the flow of this track. And just all of the undulations makes it a really awesome watch, no matter what series, I really loved when Redacted Car was here again for a couple years. And, I went to that first race, the one that after the Boston circuit kind of fell through. And they put it back to Labor Day at Watkins Glen. It was a lot of fun to be at. Just wish Watkins Glen had more of the international light than it does.
But that moment right there was a little scary because we just saw, I believe it was Carter got up on the curbing there through the S's. That's a part of the track you don't want to play with. I can say I did go back and do some counting. San Diego only 11 laps, not halfway, so will not also score points. So back to David Holland being your champion.
I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Half of the field is out. And less than half the field is on the lead lap, but we still have this battle going on. Less of a battle, more of a overtake and a thank you very much right there, as Manuel Vargas gets by Carter.
Yeah, Manuel Vargas had that big penalty, of course, putting him back here in this, but he's going to try to, see what he can make up on a night like this. Now, despite any things we can't control, such as, the internet, I was thinking to myself, a few weeks ago we watched the F4 cars come here and race, and I was pondering how different this race was. I think it's because of the power of the cars and how much more technical this car is than the F4 or the Formula D car. The Formula Ds were a draft fest here, Dylan. We literally hung on a draft line the whole race. But in this race here, it's much more technical and not a draft fest.
There are still elements of the draft, but you're absolutely right. With the added power, there's more of an ability to get away from the drivers in behind. And, you have to really change your speed going into the corners, and you're going to go at a much higher rate of corner entry than you would have in Formula D cars. So, makes sense. But it is a really good point to bring up. It changes the racing entirely, as, oh my goodness, Vargas just loves jumping over the bus stop.
Yeah, like I said earlier, sadly for a lot of cars, that really is the quote-unquote correct path, but it is quite scary to see. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's scary, though. Man. See, that's that art of letting someone by, and this is where I think you and I might agree. Don't let someone by. let me race you by. When you're on track and you try to let someone by, it's not predictable. Blake Zini has gotten around Robert Ridgway, by the way. Blake Zini up to P2. He would love to race down J.R. Williams, but 9 seconds up says that's probably not going to happen. See Blake Zini well off the racing surface there up on the left, and now up through the S as we go with about 5 laps to go.
It is funny, right? When drivers let others by, when the whole goal of the race is to keep them behind. Even if they're faster, like in this situation we're seeing with Ridgway, don't just keel over and die in the case of the race, right? Right. Look at this. Ridgway got by Zini, but Zini's fighting back really hard right now down the inside around the outer loop.
Yep. Now going to come down here. This will be into the chute. This will get us into turn 6 here. So begin the boot portion of the track. And yeah, Zini's trying hard, but Ridgway's had a great night, a P2 so far. Maybe his best night as long as I can remember doing F3, F4 races. And having an amazing run here up that hill. Now he'll come down here into this right-hander and set up that hard left-hander that I hate that takes you out of the boot. And you know what? Here's the thing to think about, though, that we don't talk about a lot. If you're Robert Ridgway, you're having a great night. You're up at P2. You're probably stoked. You're amped up. You're running well. But you got to keep that in check here for about 4 more laps. If you let that emotion get to you and you let get that focus drift away, Watkins Glen is the type of track, Dylan, where one small dip of focus, whether it be up here through the 90, up through the S's, or even the bus stop, you can't lose focus here. It's a very technical track, despite how simple it looks. Wow, look at that. Ridgway way wide there, now up through the back straight. And now I think Zini's going to have the advantage coming into the bus stop, and he will on the right-hand side there. And gets around Ridgway here. Now out of the bus stop they go, up through the outer loop, or as some of us call it, the carousel. And great job by Blake Zini, taking advantage of a one minor slip-up by Robert Ridgway. Well, we do want to thank you for hanging out here tonight on RaceSpotTV, as you have every week for this 10-week season. We'll be back in just a couple weeks, right after the beginning of the new year, with Formula C and Formula D coverage. We'll watch that happen here. Lap 23 is going on here, about to start lap 24. This is probably the closest battle on track right here for second and third. As you look down your scoring pylon on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see this is by far the closest battle compared to the rest of the cars.
Yeah, it's been a great battle we've got going on here. Derek, I appreciate you talking because I'm dumb. I sneeze and I put my microphone up, which mutes it. I just kept talking like I had it down. I was like, why are you talking over me?
You know, that's the thing about commentators. I tell my friends all the time, listen, we're grateful to have a race going on because we'll sit here and talk to ourselves if there's not a race going on.
This is true.
The race going on is just the fodder to have a topic to talk about. A good commentator can talk about, you know, anything to anyone, including themselves.
This is true. We can talk about the trees in the background or the fact that this bus stop is a bus stop that is a scary one to take. And usually they have a lot of RVs and campers lined up down that backstretch. By the way, that back straight coming to the bus stop, it's not always the easiest to tell, but it does go uphill. So it does add a little bit of an element of, you know, that air is pushing even harder down on the cars, which can make the draft effect so much stronger. When you reach over here in the boot, we go to the heel, it goes up and then down. So cool. You ever been to Watkins Glen?
I have not been to Watkins Glen. We were discussing my team was discussing maybe visiting next year, but we've decided on a different location. But yeah, I would love to go someday and see it. Well, as we're wrapping up this season, Dylan, I thought we should take a second and walk you through what the next season will look like here for Formula C for PRL. Week 1, January 4th, Road Atlanta, then Silverstone, the Indy Road Course, Phillip Island, Monza, Sebring, Zandvoort, Alton Park, and Interlagos will round out the season, I believe. So a great schedule we have up. So if you want to do that, I said you can sign up now and join along here. But Blake Seedy and Robert Ridgway are not worried about the future. They're worried about the present.
And James Carter is as well. Currently in a battle with Mackenzie Roon for P8. There was a time when Roon was dominating this race. Now Roon is just trying to get into 8th. 9 drivers left in this race with 3 laps to go here, as this battle is beginning to rage on. We've got 2 battles with cars just a 10th apart. And Roon goes to the inside. A good run for Mackenzie right there. And into turn 1, this should be an easy move. It is. Roon into 8th. Carter, last of the remaining cars on track. And by the way, the gap between Ridgway and Ziti has grown to 4/10, but it is shortening a little bit, courtesy of better traction coming out of the toe. And the draft probably having a small part to play in that.
Yep, definitely have a small part to play in that. By the way, coming back to Mackenzie Roon, why they are doing, you know, as well, quote unquote, in P8 as they are, when that disconnect happened, we were within the pit window. So part of that disconnect and reconnect to the server would have included a pit stop. So they just kind of pitted off cycle, but longer pit stop. That's how they're still on the lead lap here, you know, and doing so well. 2 laps to go, by the way, here as we wrap up our season at Watkins Glen.
It has been a bit of an anticlimactic ending to both the Formula C and Formula D seasons, has it not?
In a way, I mean, this race, of course, marred by some issues. You know, the wrecks that happened on lap 1 really just kind of maybe killed the buzz a little bit. And then, of course, you know, the internet problems are going to kill the buzz. So, but listen, for J.R. Williams, we don't want to take anything away from him. He's driven a great race, had a great run here. This is a great rebound run. You know, him and his teammate Julio Palacio almost dominated last season and had a rough time this year. Let's take a look back at Eric Dubé, though. Through the bus stop, caught the air.
Whoa!
And, well, you know what? Just played a little farm sim, picked up a lawn mowing contract, and he's all good. Look at that.
Yeah, you got a lawn mowing contract. Said, I'll sign right here. When do I start? Right now? Okay! That's exactly
I've done my fair share of lawn mowing and farm sim. You can burn some time that way.
I've never, you know, a man of your talents farming.
I'm a man of many talents. Don't you worry about that.
I know. Oh, Robert Ridgway had a moment where he decided he was going to remove himself from a battle for P2, and that's kind of put an end, a damper to any battles in this race. No one within 2 seconds of each other as the white flag is being thrown, and well, 1 lap to go for J.R. Williams here, who has seen all the issues that have come in this race, and he said, yeah, I'll deal with them in my own way. I'll get to the positions I need to get to. But just look at that leaderboard. That is a who's still who looking leaderboard.
Yeah, for a lot of drivers have said this would be a season best run tonight. This will really swap around the points, of course. The points title is done. We've talked about that. But maybe that battle back like 5th through 10th, 5th through 15th even, could really swap around tonight with who's finishing where and doing what. Blake ZD, Robert Ridgway, Scott Barton up there, Eric Dubé's up there. So there could be some new names that finish top 10 in points and feel better about their seasons after this runs here. But J.R. Williams for the final time up through the boot here. And that's, of course, is the toe right there, as you said earlier, going to come up this straightaway that has the incline and decline in it, down through the heel. And Mackenzie Roon is done. What is going on there? It could be a fuel stop. Hold on.
Arun must have made a mistake, hit the wall, damaged it, and had a race over moment, which means...
I'm starting to think maybe he just ran it out of gas and just figured, listen, we're last lap, why not? Like,
nonetheless, Williams is going to come back onto the front straight. He's celebrating. He knows it. He gets the win there. There we go. J.R. Williams in the Michigan-colored number 13 for SRT Blue wins it quite easily, and ZD Ridgway. Ridgway made a great effort to get back into this hunt for second. Just was not able to capitalize on any mistakes that ZD might have made there. Scott Barton will come home 4th. Eric Dubé is going to take another 15 seconds. Other than that, those are all the battles on track. This is going to look like a list at the end of Endgame, or at the beginning of Endgame, when Scott Lang looks at the memorial for all the fallen names in this race.
Wow, spoilers.
Oh, come on. It's been years.
Spoilers. Wow. Next, you're going to tell me that, like, I don't even have one right now. Now you're going to tell me that he's Luke's father, you know? All right, well, what an interesting race it was here. We're waiting for some cars to come through to get our grid here. All right, so let's go and take a look at the grid here, and let's run through it quickly. Not that many cars, Dylan. We'll let you take the honors of reading the grid for the final time in 2023.
J.R. Williams will win the final PRL race of the 4 seasons in 2023. Blake ZD and Robert Ridgway come home 2nd and 3rd to round out your podium. Scott Barton, Eric Dubé, Manuel Vargas, Richard Swindells, James Carter, the only drivers to finish this race on track. 8 drivers out of 20. Mackenzie Roon, 2 laps short. Brett Thurman, top 10, 12 laps down. Kevin Sandiego, Connor Wagner, Adam Colstar, Tommy Brisson, Brian Lowe, Stefan Verratti, David Holland, Leo Ho Yin Leung, Takeshi Kita, Leo Palacio. Never finished the race. If we're talking about halfway points, oh yeah, Nicholas Conder, I don't think even started the race. I believe only the top 11 finished in the top 50% of this race, meaning only 11 drivers are getting points here, I think.
Yeah, what a crazy number, right? Well, listen, all the points talk aside, everything aside, we believe it's done. Let's bring him in. Despite the weird night it was, David Holland, you are the 2023 Season 4 Formula C champion. Congratulations.
Are you sure about that?
Are you sure?
Listen, I am, actually, because all kidding aside, the way we're doing the math is you have to finish half the race to get points. Kevin Sandiego did not do it. Greg Seitz wasn't here.
Okay.
No one else could catch you. So you know, they could come on my ear and tell me and yell at me, but I'm 98% sure you are the champion.
All right. I'll accept 98%. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm over here looking at stuff, and from what I understand, like 35 points should be the most that you could get. But I'm looking at the past results, and it looks like 11th, which I think is what Kevin ended up coming in. But if he didn't finish that, the race doesn't matter. But 11th is giving out 40-something points.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, welcome to our world, right? We just did this in the broadcast.
Right, so it's not just me,
well, right? No, it's not just you. So listen, the question I do have though, you started in the back tonight. What was with that?
I mean, honestly, just to kind of have some fun more than anything. Connor and I both decided we start from the back and see what we could do. And, you know, we were like, okay, are we going to, you know, be real aggressive on the first lap, or are we just kind of take it slow and methodical? And we're like, oh, let's just take it slow and see where we end up. But that didn't end up working. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of chaos. I feel like I dodged 3 or 4 different wrecks heading up to the bus stop. And yeah, that last one, there was just too much. Couldn't really tell what was going on. And then, you know, the seas kind of parted in front of me and there was just a stopped car. I probably could have avoided if I went like hard right, but I didn't know if there was anyone over there. I didn't want to, you know, take someone else out in the process. So yeah, that was a short run to that. It was a bit of a bummer. I was kind of looking forward to seeing what we could do coming up through the field and having some fun. But, you know, glad to hear that still had enough of a buffer for it to work out points-wise.
What a I guess the word I'll use is what an anticlimactic way for Delta Sport to end this season, right? You guys dominated, almost a 300-point victory over the second place team, and kind of anticlimactic to have this race end this way, right?
Yeah, definitely. But you know, you can't discount the rest of the season. You know, it's been a lot of fun, a lot of great competition. Yeah, so I mean, it's been a great season overall. I got to thank everyone on the team. You know, Connor, Kevin, Mackenzie, all of them are just super fast every single week. And big shout out to Connor. You know, he makes all of our setups every week, and he's just absolute great job. He's a master when it comes to the setup. So really appreciate all the work and stuff that he did this season.
So I feel like the $100,000 question tonight we've been asking all night long: are you coming back to Formula C next season?
We'll see. We'll see what the signups look like. You know, if it's looking like a pretty strong field, I think that we'll be back. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it and see. TBD at this point. We're not completely ruling it out.
All right. Well, listen, it was a great job tonight as far as what it was. A great job all season. We're proud of you, and congrats on your title win.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate all the awesome broadcast, and you know, thanks to PRL as well for putting on an amazing league. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Good night, David. All right, well, I'm going to skip ahead here and be a little selfish. I've been waiting to do this all season long. J.R. Williams, you win.
I did.
I've been waiting all season to say that, it feels like, after the season you guys had last time. I mean, obviously a lot of gremlins, a lot of issues tonight, but a win is a win. Congrats.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't know if I felt like I deserved to win tonight, but you know, things just worked out. Feel bad for Mackenzie. He had he had pace on me, and I think he would have been fine if he didn't disconnect. But yeah, it was a good one.
So a great way to end the season. Of course, you know, you and Julio maybe not having the seasons you wanted after what felt like dominance last season. What do you think changed this season over last season?
Well, we had some new old entries. Those Delta Sport guys are just so fast. So trying to run 2 series was a mistake on my part. I just don't have the free time to really put in the laps when I'm running 2 series. So I'll be back just in F3 next season, and I think that'll help a little bit.
All right, well, you answered my next question, so you got that ticked off the list. Yes, you'll be back. Good to know. We'll look for you next season. Well, listen, congrats on the win tonight, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Yep, thank you guys, and I just want to say we all appreciate you at PRL for the great job with this broadcast, so shout out to you guys. Thank you.
All right, there you go, Dylan. That's J.R. Williams. He is your winner tonight here at Watkins Glen.
Well, we appreciate JR for sure, and we're going to pull Blake Ziti in here. Hopefully he could get a call in. There we go. Blake, can you get a copy?
Copy.
Copy. Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, second place. You'll take it, I'm sure.
Yeah. End of the season. Yeah, obviously you guys see in the beginning of the race a little bit of chaos, but I'll take a podium whenever I can. It's going to be far and few between here with the competition.
Yeah, this definitely was an interesting race. Take us through the start in your own eyes, what you saw, what you dealt with, because it was some close battling between you and Robert Ridgway for a lot of this race.
Yeah, I think off the start I got a good jump. And thankfully I was next to my teammates so that we were able to communicate going up the hill there. And the chaos kind of started to just happen right in front of us. We were able to avoid it most of the time. And then I found myself behind, I think, Manuel and Robert there. And I just stayed behind them, started to stay patient and try to work on them as best I can, save tires.
Well, again, Blake, with this being the finale, I need to know who makes it happen for you, and will they make it happen for you in next PRL Formula C season?
Yeah, for one, I'd like to thank my team, the SRT, for bringing me in this season and kind of take me under their wing. Just help me out with the little details that racing makes a little bit of help here and there. Gained a 10th, and shout out to those guys and everyone at the PRL who runs this fantastic league. It's enjoyable to race these guys. Everyone's really respectful, so I appreciate you guys.
Well, we appreciate you as well. But you didn't answer. Are you coming back next year?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, yeah, I'll be back next season.
Okay, good.
Looking forward to it.
We've been asking, well, mostly Derek has been asking everyone all night, and I felt like I needed to get in on the fun there in a sly way. But thank you, Blake, and have a fun, short off-season.
Thanks, guys.
Derek, I feel like I needed to get into the fun there, and I know you would have let me have it if I didn't go away without him answering the question.
I'm proud of you. You're learning. You're doing a good job, young grasshopper.
Well, I appreciate it, old man. Oh, that race made me feel old. Those two races made me feel quite old and weary. That was an interesting time. But hey, nonetheless, David Holland, the champion here. He goes from a 5 to a 6-time open wheel champion in PRL competition. No other driver has more than 2 open wheel championships in the Precision Racing League. GOAT conversation. Is there even a conversation? I don't think so.
No, probably not. David Holland is definitely up there with the likes of, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, others. David Holland. There you go. It's done. Well, speaking of done, we're also done. Dylan, I think this is the end of the broadcast. We've had a great time tonight. And Dylan, it's been a fun season.
It has been fun on all regards for Precision Racing League action. From Dustin Ellis in the production booth, Derek Watson, and myself, Dylan Coyle. I want to wish you a pleasant good evening, good night, and good racing.
At home.
Minutes of racing, and are we going to go 3 wide into the opening corner?
That was a very late dive. He managed to make it work. He gets the green. We're underway. 3 races left.
Makes it work, and the defending champion wins at Circuit Lebanon.